So Abitima Soro, there are some couple of our brothers who are hiding under some aspect of our history to cause unnecessary rancor. And I want to use this live video to bury those age-long fallacies. Those age-long fallacies. Age-long fallacies. Some people, in order to feel relevant, have been given from very stupid and nonsensical titles to themselves. One, the idiot that me and him, we had a very fearsome quarrel. He said his name is Oliyare Obanogu. I want to completely rubbish some of these people so that they will know that their stupidity and ignorance, their ignorance, illiteracy cannot stop Benin for being Benin. All right? Their stupidity, their ignorance, and their illiteracy cannot hold us back. The idiot accused me that I'm a paid palace historian. It is expected that people normally or usually will accuse me that I'm being paid for what I do. It is expected, though. I completely understand that. Maybe because of the way I defend the palace. All right? But the truth is, I love my land. And I'll do everything to protect the interests of my land. And I don't need to be paid. I have never been paid. I don't need to be paid. Ugu Kingdom versus Benin Kingdom. It is a very interesting topic, and I want you all to pay very keen attention to this very interesting topic that some people want to start using as propaganda. We're going to talk about it. We're going to take it. Auntie Golden Heart, take her to beg. Leave that guy. I beg. I would not want us to discuss about that guy's matter on my platform. I beg. Pay attention to what is most important. Because tomorrow now, some of you now will constantly call me. They tell me, say, there was a kingdom that Benin Kingdom was divided into two. There was a kingdom. Say now those ones say now then come get Benin. Una better listen now. So I'm gonna learn the story and forget about that non-entity. Someone who is not important. You guys don't make this guy feel relevant. Everybody has to be thinking like Izoduwa. See, I will address, if he's lying against our history, I will address those lies. If he's saying anything wrong about our history that is confusing to you, you can bring it to this platform. We will address the lies. But, like I said, Izoduwa or any of Izoduwa's platform is too big. All right? It's too big. It's too big to discuss about him. I can't. Yeah, then maybe a lot of you people, or should I screenshot a lot of our chats? How I was probably like a mini god to him. How he tapped from my knowledge. So is it not that kind of a guy who will now be discussing his matter? How do you know? I think that's what he said, that he's older than I am and all of that. But I beg, please, concentrate on this very topic. Is really, really very important. Walao. Exactly. Now, this is someone that is from Ugu Kingdom. Now, get it very clear. That's what we want to address. Vod balls, IK. You are not from Ugu Kingdom, you are from Benin Kingdom. Ugu Kingdom no longer exists. And that's the essence of this story. That's the essence of this story. All right, that's the essence of this today's class. Now, listen to this very interesting story. Very, very exciting. After the interregnum of Benin, after the interregnum of Benin, the Oromiyan came. Oromiyan gave birth to Obaiweka, who eventually became Obaiweka the first, and Obaiweka the first gave birth to many children, many sons and many daughters. The first of his son was called, listen, Uwai. I want you guys to pay attention to this very topic. It is very important. Don't get distracted. You guys pay attention to this topic. If it is not important, I want to make it even a topic on. Pay attention and let's concentrate on this topic. It's really very important. And don't distract us on this platform. Please. Until I'm done. Obaiweka gave birth to many sons and daughters. Obaiweka the first. Sons and daughters, a lot of them. His first son was Uwai. By right, all right, by right, Uwai is the first son. Automatically, he becomes the next Oba of Benin, which he eventually became. Now, Oba Uwai gave birth to just a daughter, Omame Omokbia. I'm talking about Oba Uwai is now the grandson of Oromiyan, the great-grandson of Ogiso Owodo, the son of Eweka. Oba Uwai was the first son of Obaiweka the first, and he became an Oba. But he did not give birth to a male son. So instead, he gave birth to just a daughter. The name of that daughter was called Princess Imadeyo. Take note. The name of that daughter was called Princess Imadeyo. Princess Imadeyo now married a Benin, someone from Owedo, and they sired a son called Prince Elegbe. They sired a son called Prince Elegbe. Let me give the chronology again so that we can get it. Obaiweka had a son who became an Oba called Oba Uwai. That Oba Uwai had no sons of his own. Instead, he had a daughter, just a child, which was a daughter. The history remembers her to be Princess Imadeyo. The Princess Imadeyo now gave birth to a son called Prince Elegbe. Prince Elegbe now became a direct descendant of Oba Uwai, but through the maternal blood. Now, Princess Imadeyo, the mother of Prince Elegbe, that is Prince Elegbe's grandmother, came from a community, a village called Umowo. Umowo now is now called Umowonzuagbo. Prince Elegbe's grandmother, that is Iye no Biye Prince Elegbe, came from a community called umogo evoni agitie umogo wazwagbo bedenena. That is a community iye no be ye Prince Elegbekiri. I'm trying to establish some of these very vital points. It will help us during the course of the history. Now, Prince Elegbe, however, is a direct descendant of Obawa Hwan, but through maternal line. So he wanted, by right, to be the next Oba of Benin. The Benin, the Ihogbe, who determines who will present historically from history, Norioba, that will present it to the Usama. The Usama role is to crown. Omani Ihogbe presents in Usama or Usama crown. It has always been. It is Usama do not participate in the selection process of the king. It is not their role because they don't know who is the first son of the Oba of Benin or who is the right heir to the throne. Their own is that once the Ihogbe had presented it to them, they will crown. But now, there was a problem. The problem is, Prince Elegbe felt that he's a direct descendant of his grandfather. Automatically, he's supposed to be the next Oba of Benin. But the chiefs understood that Egbiye Oya Ovioba, through the maternal line, all right, Oya Egboba, not through patrilineal Egbira. Instead, they now looked for his grandfather, which is about Uwakwan's younger brother, which was called Prince Ehemie. That Prince Ehemie has a legitimate claim also to the throne. So there were now two candidates. Prince Elegbe, the grandson of Oba Wakwan, then Prince Ehemie, the younger brother of Oba Wakwan, who is a grand uncle to Prince Elegbe. These were the two aspiring possible candidates for the throne of the Ogisos. But it's a problem. What will the Edo people now do to curtail another problem that might create another interregnum? You know, they just came out from interregnum not even long ago. The Oromi and Izoduwa interregnum of about 70 years. What do we do now to curtail this situation? Then I said, who will eventually be able to bury Oba by providing, in other words, they seek for the native doctor, Obo, to come and provide solution to the problem. Then when the native doctor came, he now said, one of the most important ritual material for the burial of Oba Wakwan, whoever that can be able to provide it first, automatically will become the Oba of Benin. He gave them a prescription. Noga meba mo emila naka boko yohun. Noga meba mo emila na aha. It's aha, not boko yohun. Emila, it's emila in Benin. It's not cow. It's ox. So some of you who understand English, ox, O-X, abi O-X, ox. Then aha is the weaver bird. You understand? Like the ox, the emila was a domesticated animal in old. All right, but omenso nogi doye no dek bene. They are not like wild. They are wide. They are not like wild animals. So because of the hardly move, they now have their horns are now as thick and big as a stem of a tree, that the weaver bird Nedotia aha mistake the horn of this emila as a stem of a wood, or the bokoyo will not build a nest. So emila na ha bokoyo, translated in English, it means an os, that the weaver bird has built a nest on its horn. Whoever that can provide that ritual material, all right, whoever that can provide that ritual material will be crowned the Oba of Benin. That was a ritual material. Now, to the Benin people, those in Benin, it was a myth. They have never heard of whether that kind. They have never heard the Fred Agbekan. You relax. The person who told the story, who documented the story, is one of the brightest Orion scholar till date. Late Dr. Aishen is probably the first medical surgeon trained in University of London in the history of Orion. His grandfather Idemudia was the only survivor of the war. That was not the British did not penalize or sentence to death Idemudia. Idemudiani, he's the founder of Oben. And Idemudia, my mentor's grandfather, his own father, Aishem, became the first BTC secretary. That he was the first secretary of the palace, and he was also an Onsa of Ole Arosa. So he came from a long line of historian. So he has documented it. So those Umowunokwa lies that you guys are talking about, it's what I want to correct. There's nothing like Umowunokwa at the time of this history. The original Umowun is Umowunehere, which is Umowunozwagbo. And that is what I want people to analyze. And I'll give you reasons. I'll give you statistics why Umowunokwa is now seen as greater than Umowunozwagbo. But like I have said, at this time, it was one of the sons of Elegbe that went to found Umowunokwa. So that means Elegbe was already existing. Umowunehere was already existing. I will explain all of this. Just calm down. Exactly. Late Panasen wrote the most extensive, a full book was written on this matter. And before he died, I had interviewed him on this matter. So I have a first-class knowledge. I have a first-class knowledge on this matter. So, now, according to the Benin elders, it was a myth. Egba any error, amion, it doesn't exist. According to the Benin, the people in present-day Benin city, it doesn't exist. But they didn't know that in Iyekoreon, that animal exists. Alright? And all of that. So, then when Prince Elegbe was told, and I said, okay, he carried a lot of his courtiers, a lot of his servants and all of that, and they embarked on a travel to his grandmother's village. Get on your say, you now pay attention. Iye no biye came from a community called Omogo. Omogo Atiae. That was the original name. Ogis Seva, when he got to the village, passing through the Igbe, crossing the Evaroe, the Igbe River, crossing through the Evaroe, crossing Igbehwe. All right. Then Adana, the 5 junction at present day Ugoni Ekorion, Adanako. There was a mighty tree, Nana Atiako. You know, it was a very mighty tree. They said it was still there till even in the 80s. It's a legendary tree that's in the 5 junction where you can branch to that. If you're going straight, whether you're going to Ronigbe, whether you're going to the side of Oben, or going to the side of Umowonzwagbo, you know, or if you're going straight Ewesi and all of that. Omowo, that was the original name. When he got to the village of Omowo, that's where his own grandmother came from. Iye no bi Yiyen, the maternal grandmother. You understand? Ewakiri, Ogisewa, he told those people and told them that Watokbe Yari Obabedo, but Avenido Moe Emilana Ahaboko Yon. All right, and the elders of the village told them, I talk by my prince, Emilani wa konyo kore, and he saw a lot of all of these animals. All right, it was a myth to them in Benin City, but they never really knew that this thing existed. It abounds in the thick forest of Yekoreomo. It abounds. You understand? So, and they said they were willing to give him when he was ready to return back to Benin. All right. Then the Benins felt that they have cajoled him. All right. Felt that they have cajoled him. So eventually he was given, when after some few days, about setting out back to Benin, then they had to, they saw a perfect description. Emilana Ahabokoyon, they actually brought it, get it prepared for the journey back to Benin. So it was coming to Benin. So the Benin now heard that a Prince Elegbe Ogele Mie Aemenine. So instead, Emila, they just that Adanako that is I think I saw some, it's inside that Adanako. That is where Ugo came from. Ewake Bugo. I'm going to give you all of this story. Adani Sewano. Everybody that is going must stop there. That is the heart of Ugo. All right. Okay, we'll go in there. So, so like I was saying, Anagele me. So Edona do one instead in their own and Boedoku charades, they just look for one Emila. Emila Yanawagwale nest Yanawa moyo ugon abigon the horn. Then Then they just quickly ask Prince Ehemian to perform the rites, the burial rite of Obawai, its elder brother. All right, they just quickly performed it and they quickly crowned him the Oba of Benin. So then Prince Elegbe has already gotten to a place now called Oka. He has gotten to a place now called Oka when the news got to him that Amobabe Nevedo, that his grand uncle has just been crowned as the Oba of Benin. He felt pained. He felt betrayed. He felt pained. He felt betrayed. I don't know how to explain how he felt at that moment, because to him, the line of his grandfather has just been cut off. And Obawai lines will never going to experience what it takes to be the Oba of Benin ever again. He felt betrayed. At that point in time, where the news met with him, he ruled a line and planted an ihimi tree there. He created an enogie. The enogie is still there to date. And called that place Oka. That place has always been called, but that Oka, he called it Oka no Mogun. Not Nomayo. It's Oka. It's close to the market. Oka no Mogun, where the war begins. That's what it means. No Mogun, where the war begins. He wrote a line and said that Kemari ekiniyemuye keda. Oh, okay, I think he now turned. He now backed Benin. He now faced Orion. Like Kema Bari Kiniema Dada. Niema Nyorinya. He declared a kingdom of his own immediately. He declared a kingdom of his own immediately. He therefore now created a sort of a vassalage, a nedutie ago enibode, a centering camp, using the enogie that he created at Oka like a centering camp to be able to give him feedback should in case Edomo Kobu in a day. So he created a centering camp. Benins are always known historically to always create centering camps Just like when we created the century cap at a place now called Agenebode. From the Benin word, Ago Enibode. That's the century cap. People who wash. They say, Ima de now. When I ask Ima, you there, no, they say, Ima Mukode, all the time, doing a Mukode, a century cap from Ago Enibode. That century cap was created during the time of Benin Ida War. It was created during the time of the Benin Ida War. That's the century cap. All right. Exactly. So he created that at Okanumogoen. He created an enoge. That's why they still have an enoge. That enoge that he created was created by Prince Elegbe. The enoge is still there. Was created by Elegbe. All right. So he created it, and he moved. He moved and went to his maternal grandmother's village, Omowo, where he had gotten that Emilanaka Abokoyon in the first place, and still there. There became the capital. I want people to listen, because this is where I'm having issues with some people who are not trying to take the glory of another and give it to another. Izoduwa have never said that Ugu Kingdom never once existed. Never once existed. It no longer exists. Never once existed. It existed. But the capital of Ugu Kingdom was at Umogo, which is now called Umogo Nzwagbo. All right? Once existed, and it was there. That was the capital. For hundreds of years, for about 400 years, Ugu Kingdom had existed independent from Benin. And it is the descendants of Elegbe that was the ruler, every first son. So Elegbe had about 11 children. Elegbe had 11 children. The first of his line became the Enogie. Also became, the first is when Elegbe died, his first son became the next Obanugu. All right. His second son was called Olodagweze. He crowned himself. He didn't leave. Elegbe never left Umogo Nzwagbo. I don't know what your question. You understand? So Elegbe never left there. There was a capital. Umogo, the one you guys now call Umogo Nehiri, Umogo Nzwagbo, was the capital for 400 years until Obaihengboda, who eventually conquered the Ugu Kingdom, brought war to Ugu Kingdom. And his camp, where it cannot be campy, was called Urewe. Urewe till the 80s, because Obaihengboda built camp there, created Iya, because it stayed there for quite a very long time. There are some things that were replicated. There are Ikun, there are Iya, a Hengbuda market that was created because he spent some time. Urewe was where he planned, he orchestrated the master plan of defeating the Obanugu at that time, which was called Igeon. Igeon was the last Obanugu, was the last king of Ugu Kingdom. Igeon was his name, and it reigned during the time of Obaihengboda. Now, like I was saying, Elegbe had 11 children. His first son eventually took the mantle of leadership from him. His second son was called Olodagweze. Olodagweze left Umogo, the capital, to establish an alternative Umogu, which is now regarded as Umogu Nokwa. So that means every Enogi of Umogu Nokwa ancestrally is a younger brother to every Enogi of Umogo Nzwagbo. That's what it means. That is the first thing I want to establish for people to know. All right, that is the first thing I want to make people know. All right. Igeon was the last Obanugu. He was defeated. When he was defeated, he ran to a place in present-day Ekpoma, and after some time he came back. Obaihengboda gave him a pardon. All right, and now made him subservient, because at the time the war came, the war was so mighty on the Umo. It was so mighty that a lot of their wives, almost all their wives, ran to the other Umo, which is the Umo Nokwa. And because of the population that left the original Umo, went to populate the another Umo, it now swelled. When the war ended, Igbama, Nokba, Nikale, Yoha, and all of that, they also went to join their mothers and their wives at what you now refer to as Umo Nokwa today. So, Umo Nehere or Umo Wonsagbo reduced in size. The population that it had already populated the other Umo that is now regarded as Umo Nokwa today. All right. When Igion was roundly defeated, it is even in the records of Umo Wonsagbo or many that Owa Amokbera, that there was a mighty tree. It is written, it is detailed, it's recorded apocryphally. I know for some of you who have been following our stories, I've always told you that most of the stories in Benin is apocryphal. The real story was that Umo Wonsagbo and destroyed and completely vanquished them until they had to it was Umo Wunokwa that was the first community to submit to the power. I'm going to give you the updates now. It's because Umo Wunokwa was the first community amongst all Inugu kingdom that submitted to the power of Ehengbuda. That is why Ehengbuda empowered Umo Wunokwa. But I'm coming there. Now, I always say that Bini Oharedo or my Temi Yagwe Eriedo Yatoha. The apocryphal story tale of the original story of Ehengbuda when Ehengbuda Yamoko Yagwe was that a lot of you have heard the story. No care or where Ogie Umo Wonsagbo. There was a big mighty tree that was very close to the palace. Now, this tree was about to fall on the palace building. In order for the youths, the women, wanted to hold, they wanted to hold the tree. No, when my uncle used to tell me that story, I used to say, so Iran, when Iran, I mean, they very Iran, Igedu, or one more by, was about to fall on an Noge's house. Then the people didn't want the tree to destroy their Noge's house. Instead, they all assembled to hold the tree while the tree is falling. So that it doesn't destroy the Noge's house. Instead, the tree fell, crushed all of them, and destroyed the Noge's house. It is an apocryphal way of saying the tree. The tree represents Ehengbuda and his military might. How he crushed Umo Wonsagbo. That is how we tell. That is how we tell the story. And there's also a story that that is also very common to even the Umo Wunokwa. The one I just said is the one of Umo Wonsagbo. The one that's common is the pot of good luck. That originally a pot of good luck was given to one of the sons of Elegbe, and it was carried and buried at the center. Was buried at the center of Umo Wunokwa. That is why good luck started coming. A lot of good things, a lot of people in other communities started coming. It tells of the story that yes, Umo Wunokwa wasn't as great as it was initially. It was the people who ran from Umo Wonsagbo. That is why the word Ozwagbo came from the word Umo Nozwogbe. Yeah. Why did the people call them Nozwogbe? Because everybody was aware of the military might of Ehengbuda. everybody was aware of the military might of Oba Engboda, that Oba Engboda's military might can crush the uncrushable. Instead, it was stupidity and foolishness that made the Umogun, the original Umogun, I've said that the original Umogun is not Nohwa, that made the original Umogun people to want to engage in a warfare with with Oba Engboda as in military might. So Edona Umogun was that it was foolishness that when one a bad boy, it's just like me, I go just see the world's strongest man now. As I say, as me as me now rubber like this, I just say this guy get chest. And you understand? I say I want to follow the guy all ground. And I know say this guy will fit beat me, but I want to follow the guy all ground. So I don't have that it was foolishness. If they weren't foolish, they were supposed to have ordinarily submitted to the power and might of Oba Engboda's military. Otherwise, the destruction that was meted out on them, they couldn't have been destroyed as much as they were destroyed. I don't know in order to compress it, that Umogonzwagbo is the home and was the headquarter of Ugu Kingdom, not Umogunokwa. Not Umogunokwa. All right? But because when the war came, the Umogun that is now called Nohwa Noro, that has the epithet of Nohwa, the bigger Umogun, submitted first. And because of that, Oba Engboda found them as a reliable someone you can rely on the people you can rely on. In other words, he now gave the Duke, which is the Enogie of Umogun Nohwa, he now gave them. There was never any time that there was an Oba Nugu in Umogun Nohwa. The Oba, not the Oba Nugu, was at Umogonzwagbo. Never at any time in history that it was at Umogun Nohwa. I've just told you, Umogun Nohwa is stealing the glory of Umogun Nehere. And that is the plain truth. Although, because they submitted on time, even before the war, they were given the privilege of becoming the head amongst all the Elegbe established dukes and dukedoms. So the Oba of Benin gave the Umogun Nohwa first amongst equal. And that is why he now created the epithet of Oba Nugu. He's not saying that, he's saying that he's the first, he's the head of all. What Oba Nugu means is not Oba as a king in reality. Oba Nugu means that he's the first amongst all of the Ugu dukes, because he was given the political and the traditional wit amongst every other person. But there is a practice that is still being practiced till date to verify that Umogonzwagbo was the original headquarter, was the original, the only headquarter of Ugu Kingdom. Adi Kwegbe of all the Ugu dukedoms till date. Ask. All right? It's not a matter of Wesley Egwaihato. It's not a matter of who knows it better. It's not a matter of who knows it better. I don't know why Benins always think that I know this thing better, I know this thing better. It's not a matter of who knows this thing better. There's already a written works about this matter. And someone who knows it far better than you do already wrote it. So, Adwi Kwegbe amongst the Enogie of that are Elegbe descendant. I say Obemila, the Hindlip, he's still accorded the right to the best part of the meat. Is still given to the Enogie of Umogonzwagbo till date, as a sign of a respect that is the home at which every other descendant of Elegbe migrated from. like I said, it's just like you have Okaji-san, which is domiciled at Irwa. Is the head of all Enigis in Enigi of Okaoro Ogie Awogie-san. Is the head. That is the Enogi of Irwa. Is the head of all the Enigi in Esan land. Is the first amongst equal. It doesn't mean that other people are not Enogi. They have the same right, but he's just first amongst equal. In case they want to take decisions, all right? The decisions will be presided by him. Is your Kao Jason. It's first amongst equal. So that's how Umogunokwa Jukdom or Enogi became first amongst equal amongst all Elegbe descendants. That is the Ugu Jukes. All right. But however, another point that we must understand is that the meeting that was being conducted amongst all of the Ugu kingdoms were never done at Umogunokwa. Because when Ehembuda brought war to Ugu kingdom, he was domiciled at Urewe. And when he had completely vanquished them, all matters of within the former Ugu kingdom territories were decided at Urewe. Even before now, almost all the meetings that concerns the Ugu kingdom, if it's to be decided among them, must be done at Urewe and not Umogunokwa. That is another point that we must notice. In our next class, I'm going to talk about all the 11 children of Elegbe, how they established a lot of other communities around. Some went to, like one of his grandson, Ekmenede, went to Urunigbe. He died. His elder brother had to go and exhume his body, came to bury him in the front of the palace of the Enogi of Ewesi. He had a powerful spear, and that is what culminates to Ishioku, the Ishioku festival that has been done in Ewesi in 3 years. It's a reminiscence of the heroism, of the bravery of Ekpenede, who was a grandson of I'm going to, in our other subsequent class, I'm going to unique all the 11 children, the male and the female, the colonies, how all of them left. Like I've already established, it is his Elegbe's second son, or boy Umowu Nokwa, Nagiti Umowu Nokwa, Nagiti Oladagweze, Imagua pronounce Dodan Logo, Kiri, Imagua pronounce you understand? See, I'm not interested in Umowu Nokwa. Get it? In the topic stated on top here, it was not Umowu Nokwa that is the topic. It's Ugu Kingdom. And get to know, I'm from Orion too. All right? I'm from Orion too. So nobody has if you have a contrary opinion as to the story that I have said, you write your own book. Let the Umowu Nokwa people, those who are completely deceiving people historically, let them publish their own book. Let them have a book. At least my community, I wrote a book about my village. So the Umowu Nokwa people should also write, and so that we can compare notes. A lot of people have written about Ugu Kingdom, and also citing that some of the glory that Umowu Nokwa now possesses wrongly doesn't belong to them. And I'm a Benin historian. I'm not an Umowu Nokwa historian, or only Ugu Kingdom historian. So it's of concern to us that our history has to be well placed the way it should be placed. And if you have contrary opinion, according to Chinua Achebe, he said the best way to answer, to counter whether a lie, or truth is to write, then you write. I've seen two Umo historians coming to me that they wanted to publish a book. That this is how it is, this is how they do, stating that Idu was the son and all of that. And I've been able to tell them you cannot reconcile the differences because they are wrong. But anyway, let me not argue. I'm used to you people not wanting to get the truth because of lies upon lies and upon lies. And that's what Izoduwa is all about. I've been flogging Yoruba people, Ishekiri people and all of that for their lies. So let me also carry my cane to flog my own people for lying, for trying to bend story, for trying to So the bottom line of the history today is that Ugu Kingdom no longer exists. It doesn't exist. It once existed. Ehenguda vanquished it. It no longer exists. And Obanugu is just an epithet, first amongst equal. It doesn't make him an Oba. Like I've said before, it is not only him. I don't know why some people, because of arrogancy of history, Oba is also an Oba. It doesn't make him an Oba. It doesn't mean that because he has an epithet. Yes, because he was once an Oba. He was once an Oba. I did a documentary of almost about 47 minutes of Obani Yedo. It has the appellation of an Oba. Even we have one called Obani Yekiya. If you people don't know that, that's also an appellation of Chief Oswan. Obani Yekiya. It's also an appellation. It doesn't not make him that Yedo. You know. So most of these things were appellation as a result of the history of the world that is not longer in conformity with the reality of today's history. You know. So anyway, ladies and gentlemen, we started our class early today for some